Happy Tuesday, everybody. Andy from WagerTalk.com. We're going over Dana White Contender Series Week 8 for 2023. Interesting card. I've got some, I don't know, maybe controversial opinions. Who knows? We'll see. But our Dana White Contender Series best bet is up at WagerTalk.com. 11-2 MMA run. Not that I'm salty about how we lost on Saturday, but we lost because we had Malkoon to win. And the shadiest DQ one of the worst DQs ever, but it still doesn't change the fact our read was great. We're on a nice roll in Dana White Contender Series. So we got our best bet that is up. We easily hit last week and the week before in Contender Series. We're hitting 72% of our Contender Series bets. So I encourage you to get that at WagerTalk.com. All right, let us take a look here at the fights. And so when I said I have some controversial opinions, it's going to be with this first fight here. And we're looking at Vinicius Oliveira and Victor Hugo Madrigal. I kind of like the underdog in this one. And there's several things that are going on with this fight. The first is Oliveira, I do not like the showboating. And I just don't think he's UFC ready with that showboating. Wild striking. It just leaves himself wide open to counters. He holds his hands down. He dances around. He swings really wild, and he doesn't set up any of his shots with jabs. And he just swings for the fences on every punch. He can easily get lured into this big brawl. He has really good length. I just don't think he uses it very well. He does have good leg kicks if he sets them up and lands them clean. I would love to see more of those. I would really like to see more of his leg kicks and his jabs to set up those big punches. But he's fought these guys and he's gotten away with it where, he can just swing all the way back and leave his chin wide open. And he's gotten caught a couple times, but I think when you're stepping up in competition, it looks a little sloppy. Great movement on the feet. I love his crisp movement, but he just holds his hands down way too low. And so when we go look at Oliveira, he's 18-3, and he was winning this fight against Ali Taleb, but he lost because of these mistakes that he makes. I think he got overconfident and he ate a punch in the third round, and he wasn't in a good stance, and he got popped. This guy, Yoshino, listen, I know that Yoshino's got a good record, but he just wasn't very good. Oliveira was able to overwhelm with the power. Sylvester did not look good at all, so he hasn't fought great competition, and I especially did not like what I saw at weigh-ins. I thought that was a clown move, what he did at the weigh-ins, and I just don't trust guys like that. I don't think they're focused on the fight at hand. Now, Madrigal, on the other hand, so in his fights, he has looked weak on the feet if he gets touched, but he looks great if he's landing. Kind of one of those, okay, he's a really good hammer, but a bad nail. At times, he just has not looked UFC ready. I don't like his stance on the feet. His striking can be a little wild, but he's going to have a big advantage on the ground. If he can get this fight to the ground, it's his world. He has fought shaky competition, but I can see Oliveira swinging really, really wild, Madrigal getting a hold of him and taking him down, and that's Madrigal's world. So I do not think this fight is going the distance. If you're looking for a nice prop, this one not going the distance. So I think Oliveira gets wild. I think Madrigal can take him down. Okay, now here's where we're going to get a little out there. If you didn't watch Face-Offs, I encourage everyone to go watch Face-Offs yesterday. I noticed something a little strange about Madrigal based on what he looked like in his last fight and what he looked like at weigh-ins. I'm just going to say he looks like he's on a special vitamin plan. And just to show you my results of my study, I'm going to put a side-by-side picture of what he looked like at his last fight while his name was being announced in the ring and what he looked like at weigh-ins yesterday. Does this look like the same man? Does that look like the same body? Because it doesn't to me. So we have the before, which is April 4th. This is not a year ago. This is April of this year. Look at this look on his face. He looks okay, cool, calm. What is going on here compared to here? And look at these traps, which kind of non-existent in April, and oh hello on September 25th. Now I know the lighting's different and I know he did a weight cut, but look at the look on this face. Look at the look on this man's face. That looks like he knows something, or that looks like he has got something planned for Oliveira. So I this transformation of Madrigal from April to September is quite something. I mean, the man has like muscles like here. I don't know. This screams parlay buster to me. So I'm on Madrigal in this one. I could be completely wrong and could be proved to look like a fool. I'm just saying, be careful if Oliveira looks like the easy winner here. I'm going to go with Madrigal on the upset. So, all right, up next, Ernesta Kareckaite versus Carli Judice. So, Carli Judice is somewhat of a short notice replacement, but I got to tell you, I really like her game. I'm I do I like the technique of Ernesta. She's got a kickboxing background. You can see she's fought kickboxing. She's fought two kickboxing fights. She has boxing. Um, she's tall. She's lanky. She's got good technique, but she just doesn't have power behind her punches. And I mean, look at this. Decision, split decision, decision, split decision, decision. When you're fighting low level, and then you're stepping up into contender series, I think I need to see some finishes because if you're not able to finish, if you go to split decision versus somebody who's making their debut, and I watched this fight, she did bloody up Kate with some inside elbows that were good, but this is a split decision. And this fight against Blot, they went to draw last time. It was a pretty good fight, but um, just not enough damage for me. And Contender Series, the name of the game is damage and putting on a show. And I just don't think Ernesta has that in her. So, Carli Judice, she's 3-0, and I know that she has not fought the best competition on the pro level, but she's finished all of them. I like her stance. I like her striking. Her punches have some real pop to it. Monica Medina, man, she landed body shots. She landed headshots. My biggest worry was her cardio, Carli, and how it would stand up to Ernesta because Ernesta can go 5 rounds. So I was like, well, does Carli have, cardio? So I actually went back and watched her amateur fights. And this fight she had against Anna Crutchfield was really good. It went the distance. I know it was an amateur fight, but Carli looked fine in round 3. It was a nice scrap on the feet. And it kind of put me at ease that Carli's cardio is going to be fine. Ernesta's kind of, I don't know. She does have a little bit of wrestling in her back pocket. I just don't think she's going to be strong enough to implement it and to win out points. Carli hits harder. She's going to do more damage. And I love those body shots in Carli's last fight. And if you've seen Ernesta's body, she's tall and skinny, and some body shots would soften her up really, really good. And I just don't think the counter strikes coming from Ernesta are going to be enough to scare Carli off. So I think Carli's going to win. I know Carli's finished all of her fights. I think this goes kind of deep. I see the over 2.5 is like minus 200. So the books are kind of onto it. So if anybody's going to finish, it's definitely Carli. So that's why I give the advantage to Carli Judice. And she puts on a good show. She's going to get a contract because the film that I've seen, her strikes are UFC ready. It's just the rest of her game. Can she up her game? So if she puts on a good show, she'll get a contract. And I have high hopes for her succeeding. Danny Silva, and I believe it's Angel Pacheco or Angel Pacheco. I'm just going to call him Pacheco here. I'll start with Pacheco. Little shady here. So he's 7-1. This fight against Wilson was pretty good, but I mean, he fought this guy, Zach Schroeder. He fought him at the Bud Brawl 2. If you guys missed out on Bud Brawl 1, quite the show, but Bud Brawl 2. So he's knocked out the same guy. And, before that, he had a rear naked choke against Damian Hill, who's not all that. He doesn't look UFC ready, to be honest with you. He fought 3 times in, 3.5 months here, and then he hasn't fought in over a year. So I was like, okay, maybe Pacheco took a bunch of time off and he's going to come to weigh-ins and look great, and he doesn't. His body just doesn't look UFC ready. I just don't think he's got the ceiling high enough to win. And I'm not a huge Danny Silva fan. There's definitely some holes in his game. I think the biggest thing is how he's low volume. He's a pretty good striker. I just wish I would hope to see more of the strikes tonight. It does look like he tires fairly easily. I'm not going to be betting on him just because of that, because if he gets out of the first round, he might tire a little bit. So his striking defense I describe it as cocky. He can leave himself open to get hit, except I just don't think Pacheco's that guy. And, the other thing that worries me a little bit about Silva is one finish in his last four fights. Not great. And this finish he has here against Artiega was so weird. Looked like Artiega was hurt, maybe because of the leg kick. Very, very strange fight. Credit to Silva because he does get the finish. I guess I'm leaning Silva because this Pacheco just seems a little bit shady and just does not look like a UFC fighter. I'm not very confident in it. I'm staying away from it. Silva's the pick for this video, but I'm not really betting on it. Alexander Soldatkin and Mario Piazzon. So the big thing about this fight is nobody can find film on Piazzon. I have found some. I found his first fight, and it was a joke. He kicked the guy in the leg, and the guy fell over, and Piazzon laid on him for a few minutes until they called the fight. It was quite funny. I did find a bunch of highlights of this fight against Thiago, and Thiago's a big, somewhat out of shape guy, and he's 39 years old. I mean, we'll take a look at this guy, competition, because this was a first round finish against this guy. Great. All right, so he's 39 years old and he's lost 5 in a row. Is not very good. They're fighting in what looks like some kind of warehouse or gym. I don't know. It's bad. It looks like Piazzon likes to wrestle. Look, he got the shoot, got a single leg on this guy, and this guy's physique, he went down like a sack of potatoes. He worked the ground and pound. Just this guy trains with Jailton Almeida. It does not look like the training has rubbed off a ton on him. You like, I don't know if you're on Contender Series and you're a legit contender. I don't know why you can't get a fight in another promotion like Jungle or something. So he beats this guy that's 11-17 and is over there. Then he beats a guy that made this guy look only fight. no amateurs fights. He just jumps in and gets beat by this guy. Wins unanimous decision, okay, but this guy sucks as well. I mean, this guy's look. They can't even figure out how old he is. He's lost 3 out of 4. It's really bad competition, and I don't buy Piazzon at all. So if you're asking what to expect from him, I'm going to expect him to shoot early. I'm going to expect him to try to go for a single leg or a double leg. He's going to try and get it on the ground. But here's the thing: in the fight that I saw the highlights of that he won, he did win by ground and pound, and he was exhausted at the end. I mean, like his last few punches were they were going that speed. He was dead to the world. So Soldatkin, what does Dana White say? I need heavyweights, and I think he's going to get a heavyweight here. Soldatkin's got pretty good wrestling, but his bread and butter is his striking. I don't want to say bread and butter, but I think that's the high point of his game. Really good hands, really good power, and I think they kind of surprised some people. So his last fight against Ben Sehik was pretty good fight. Sehik's a real fighter, and you see Alexander land a big shot early. It kind of knocks Sehik down, and Alexander jumps on him and wins the first round. Second round, Sehik kind of ends up on top of him for a little bit, and then Alexander reverses it and gets on top of him again, and Sehik ends up hurting his shoulder. I don't think Sehik was going to win that fight at all. He was down a round. He was losing the second round. I think he was probably going to get finished, but it was a pretty good win for Alexander because it showed he's got decent cardio into the second round. And then before that, I mean, early finishes, all by strikes. So let's just say Piazzon does get that first takedown. He's smaller than Alexander. If you saw at weigh-ins, Alexander's the much bigger fighter here. So Alexander, I think, even if it does get to the ground, I doubt Piazzon knows what he's doing submission-wise. He's going to be smaller, and I think Soldatkin ends up on top. And if Piazzon does not get it down to the ground, it's Soldatkin on the feet all day long. So Soldatkin's your biggest favorite on the card for a reason. I think he gets it done. I know we've seen some fighters kind of come out of nowhere and surprise everyone. I just don't think this guy is the guy. You can find some stuff of him training on Instagram, and he just doesn't look like he's going to be able to really compete with Soldatkin. So Soldatkin's the play there. I would guess this fight does not go the distance. The lack of cardio and the finishing ability is going to be on display. So I don't think it goes a distance. Danny Barlow and Raheam Forrest, tough fight to predict. So Barlow, left hand to God. I mean, he's got that huge left hand, and I like how patient he is with it. When sometimes you see these guys with huge one-shot power, they get a little too anxious. He is pretty patient with it. I hope to see more leg kicks from him tonight, because I think his leg kicks are pretty decent, and I think that's going to help him set up the left hand. He's got great jabs to set up the left hand. I'd like to see some more kicks. I haven't really seen his cardio tested. That kind of worries me a little bit. So, I mean, you look at it, round one. This one did go the distance, but against a guy that was, 1-0, and then round one, he gets a Kimura. So the reason I bring up his cardio is Forrest likes to clinch. He'll strike and then he'll clinch. I don't think it's a great look for Forrest that he lost to Charlie Radke. I mean, Radke made his UFC debut and barely beat Blood Diamond, and Blood Diamond's terrible. But, he does have power. That knockout he had in his last fight against Vines was pretty impressive. So his fight against Liberts was really good. Close win. Does have the arm bar. So what worries me for Barlow is if Barlow is really looking for that left hand, Forrest is going to clinch and take him down, and I haven't seen that Barlow can do much on the ground. Forrest's cardio is not great as well. So there's a chance this could be a really, really exciting fight on the feet. And there's also a chance that Forrest takes this to the ground and it just kind of becomes a little bit boring with no action. I hope both these guys realize that they're on Contender Series, and it's much better to lose putting on a really good show rather than win and put on a really boring fight. So I hope it stays on the feet. And if it does, I like Barlow to win. But if Forrest does implement that clinch game and takes Barlow down, it could be a long fight for Barlow. So because it's a video and I will predict a winner, that way if I'm wrong, you guys can tell me I was wrong in the comments. I will go with Forrest. I'm going to pick Forrest to win with the clinch. I think all he's got to do is stay out of the way of that big left hand of Barlow. And as long as he does that, he's going to clinch and he's going to win points. If Barlow lands the big left, then Barlow's going to put on a highlight reel knockout and probably get a UFC contract. But I'm going to lean Forrest, but I got to tell you, it's not a confident pick at all. So I think there are very limited spots for betting on this card. And I would advise everyone, just be careful tonight. I would not put a lot of plays in here. So to recap, I got Victor. I mean, let's take a look at Victor once again. Good Lord. I don't know. I like this face. I just love that face. He looks ready. All right. So I'm going to pick Madrigal to pull off the upset over Oliveira. And then I like Carli Judice over Ernesta. Kareckaite, I think Carli is just a much stronger fighter. I'm going to pick Danny Silva to win this one. Pacheco just doesn't strike me as a UFC fighter. No pun intended there. Body doesn't look great. And Silva, as much as this low volume worries me, I just don't think Pacheco has the game to win. I will lean Soldatkin to win. Be a little bit careful because we don't have all the film on Piazzon, but from what I've seen, I think Soldatkin wins the fight, and I don't think it goes very long. And then I'll take Forrest to go over Barlow. But again, not a very confident pick on that one. I think that's just kind of sit back and enjoy that one. So want to remind you guys, have our best bet that is up at WagerTalk.com, 11-2 MMA run. And very, very proud of the record. We've been seeing the sport really well. And if you want to join us tonight to watch the fight lives, that is on the YouTube channel, Takedown Live. Just go to YouTube and search Takedown Live. Myself and my good buddy, Jim Malero, will be there breaking down all the fights. So hope everyone has a great night. Good luck on all your fights. I'm enjoying that we're having a week off for UFC. I needed the break. So let's get our MMA fix in tonight. Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see everyone later.